Welcome to Panda Tale. I hope you have a great time listening to the story. If you enjoy it, don't forget to give me a like, leave a comment, and subscribe. I am known as a venomous woman in the capital. Everyone says so about me. They say I forced my sister, who already had a lover, to enter the palace because I wanted to curry favor with the powerful. They say I coveted the family fortune, forcing my brother to drop out of school and roll around in military camps. Later, they all achieved fame and glory, while I died alone and unloved. Reborn in this life, I've decided to stand back with folded arms. If they want to love poor scholars, let them love. If they want to live without ambition, let them live. What family revival? What eldest daughter's duty? I don't care anymore. Mother is gravely ill, very gravely ill. Dr. Bai sighed deeply as he wrote the prescription. I called for a maid to step back and collect the medicine, then saw the doctor out to the door. Dr. Bai, can mother's illness still be cured? The man's face showed sympathy. Miss Sophie, forgive this old man for speaking bluntly. Madame Shaw's condition is now critical. You should prepare for the inevitable. I remained silent, not responding. In my previous life, Mother also passed away on the early morning of the third day after Dr. Bai's diagnosis. But back then, I didn't ask this question, so after Mother died, my younger brother and sister constantly blamed me for not taking good care of Mother. But now, with the old butler as witness, I am naturally in the clear. When I returned to Mother's room, she had just finished taking her medicine. She leaned weakly against the headboard, breathing very lightly, her face drained of all color, eyes barely open. Mother, are you feeling any better today? Sophie, I dreamed of your father. He said he's lonely down there, with no one to talk to. I think my days are numbered. Father had suddenly passed away 3 years ago, and since then, Mother had fallen ill from grief. Mother! Don't say such unlucky words. You'll get better. I comforted her. She shook her head. I know I won't make it through. Sophie, you're the eldest daughter. As the eldest, you must take good care of Grace and Henry. You must push them to excel in everything, to bring glory to the Shaw family. Henry is a man, he'll have his path as an official or general. What Mother worries about most is Grace. She's naive and doesn't understand the ways of the world. You'll need to watch over her more carefully, find her a good husband. Mother gave detailed instructions about her 2 younger children, but didn't mention my name even once. Mother, I'm back. Look, doesn't this outfit look beautiful on me? A clear, pleasant voice rang out from outside. My sister Grace Shaw, wearing a red dress, ran in cheerfully and threw herself into Mother's arms. Beautiful. Our Grace is such a lovely young lady. Mother lovingly stroked her hair, her eyes full of doting affection. You've inherited Mother's beauty. Back then, I was the famous beauty of the capital. As my daughter, you naturally inherited Mother's heart-stopping beauty. Grace proudly lifted her face like a little peacock, but her small mouth immediately pouted in complaint. Mother, I should have won first place at the lake outing today. But sister wouldn't let me buy that emerald jewelry set, so I was overshadowed by the Liu family's daughter. You don't know how heartbroken I was. Mother looked at me reproachfully. Mother, the jewelry set Grace wanted was very expensive, tens of thousands of taels of silver. This year, silk prices from Jiangnan have risen again, shipping costs have increased, and goods supplied to the palace have also gone up. We just delivered to the palace and need working capital. Our finances are a bit tight. Sister already has quite a lot of jewelry. I explained as always, but I already knew what the answer would be. We're short tens of thousands of taels. Mother cut me off, looking at me reproachfully. Grace is still young. What's wrong with liking to dress up? You're the eldest sister, you should take proper care of her. Buy that jewelry set for your sister tomorrow. I couldn't help but laugh coldly inside, but outwardly remained calm and nodded. Grace continued to act spoiled and show off for a while, making Mother laugh happily. I watched their warm mother-daughter moment and felt only a sense of isolation and loneliness. I managed the family business while rushing to care for Mother's illness, never resting day or night. Yet my sister could leisurely go boating on the lake. Mother only knew that I had to satisfy my sister's needs, never considering how much effort her eldest daughter Sophie had to calculate and sacrifice to obtain those tens of thousands of taels. After Mother fell asleep, Grace and I returned to our rooms together. Sister, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to tell Mother. I didn't think she would scold you. Grace lowered her head and explained in a small voice. I'm your sister. How could I blame you? I smiled very gently. Since childhood, whenever I disagreed with her about something, she would run to our parents and act spoiled, saying I treated her poorly. Then I would be scolded, and our parents would force me to compensate her. In the end, she would act cute while gloating, saying she didn't mean it. Sister, I know you're the best. You're the gentlest, most generous sister in the entire capital. I must have cultivated good karma for 8 lifetimes to have the fortune of being your sister. Grace's face lit up as she hugged my arm and acted spoiled, sweet words flowing out without thought. I just smiled gently. That's right, same blood, same mother. Since childhood, I was taught to be gentle and modest. If I hadn't lived through this once before and known the future, how could I not love such an innocent, adorable sister? But now, Sophie Shaw, who gave everything for her sister, has already died. Died on that cold winter night. In my previous life, after being driven from the capital by my own siblings who had risen to power, I lived in a cold kiln. Cold to the bone until death. While alive, I was cursed by thousands. In death, I bore a tainted name with not a single person to speak half a word in my defense. I labored my whole life, and now I just want to stand back with folded arms. Grace, why do you like that emerald jewelry set so much? I pretended to ask curiously. A shy expression appeared on my sister's face. Sister, let me tell you, but don't tell Mother, okay? It's because of young Master Victor. He said I'm lively and beautiful, and wearing a red dress. If I added thy jade, green jewelry, I'd be even more youthful and beautiful, like a newly bloomed lotus, comparable to the fairy Lingbo. Young Master Victor Wei, a poor scholar who would stop at nothing to climb up. The two of them fell in love at first sight. In my previous life, I saw through his despicable nature and separated them. After that, Grace couldn't resist the imperial decree and had to enter the palace. She turned to hate me, thinking I wanted to use connections with the royal family to beat the Mandarin ducks apart. After I wholeheartedly helped her become empress, she turned against me for revenge. As for Victor Wei, after entering court as an official, he also made things difficult for me everywhere. Sister likes young Master Victor. Grace nodded shyly. If you like him, then pursue him boldly. In this life I naturally want to help them succeed. But sister, his family isn't wealthy. Treasures are easy to find, but a faithful heart is hard to come by. As long as he treats you well and has talent, what does poverty matter? What the Shaw family has most is money. Would I let my sister lack a dowry in the future? I think so too. Though we're imperial merchants, we're really just lowly traders. How can we compare with noble scholarly families? When sister marries young Master Victor and he enters court as an official, you'll become a noble lady. That would be truly glorious. Grace agreed with me. I then told her about Mother's serious condition, so severe. Grace was alarmed. Sister, how have you been taking care of Mother? It's not what I say, but Dr. Bay's words. The butler heard it too at the time. I choked up, looking pained. And Henry, I've already sent someone to the academy to inform him. Sister should also prepare mentally. Don't say anything in front of Mother. The next afternoon, my brother Henry Shaw returned home and immediately opened his mouth to criticize me for not taking good care of Mother. He was dressed very properly, but I could still smell the scent of powder and rouge. Everyone thought he was studying hard at the academy. In reality, this brother of mine had long become a regular customer at the pleasure quarters. Mother reached the stage of final clarity. We surrounded her bed. First, she instructed us to take care of each other and carry forward the Shaw family glory. Then she told me to manage the family business well and take good care of my siblings. Mother said much and coughed much. Nanny Lou approached, bringing a young man with her. Madam, young Master Thomas is here. The young man was Thomas Joe, a relative staying temporarily at our house, and also my betrothed. Cough, cough, cough. Good child, come here, mother called. Thomas, Auntie called you here today to dissolve the engagement between you and Sophie. The entire hall fell silent. My heart remained sorrowful, though everything was within my expectations, because in my previous life, Mother had done the same thing. Aunt, is it because I'm not good enough? Thomas was stunned for a long moment before reacting. Good child, it's not that you're not good enough. It's that Auntie's life is coming to an end. After this, Sophie will have to manage the family business, dealing with the outside world, and still maintain filial piety for me. She's also getting older, so Auntie thinks it's better to dissolve your engagement. In ancient times, women appearing in public to do business was considered a loss of value. Mother spoke very tactfully, but left no room for others' opinions. There was another reason she didn't mention. If I married someone else, how could I wholeheartedly care for my siblings? This was exactly what happened in my previous life. For them, for the Shaw family, after dissolving the engagement, I remained alone my whole life. But Aunt, I don't mind that cousin goes out for business. I'm also willing to let Sophie fulfill her filial duties. Thomas struggled. That's right, Mother. Cousin doesn't mind. I looked at Thomas's hopeful eyes and couldn't help but speak up. Enough. Marriage matters should follow parents' arrangements. Can a girl like you interrupt? If you delay your cousin's marriage, how will Mother face his father in the underworld? Do you want Mother to die with eyes wide open? No child would want their parents to die with regrets. Mother was using moral principles and status to pressure me, using the phrase, follow parents' arrangements, to criticize me for being shameless. That's right, sister. Listen to Mother. The Analects teach that being a filial child means serving parents without going against their wishes. The most important thing for a woman is filial obedience. Sister, are you trying to disobey Mother? My brother also spoke up to criticize. In the end, Thomas and I signed the dissolution papers together. I saw Thomas out. The night wind was cold, winter cicadas hummed mournfully. We walked side by side on the small garden path. Cousin, I'm sorry. It's because I'm not outstanding enough. Cousin, you're a good person, a true gentleman. In the end, it's because my fortune is too thin to be worthy of you. I smiled bitterly. Take this. This is a recommendation letter I asked Master Kong from the Imperial Academy to write personally, recommending you as a student of the great scholar Master Zhang. Keep this letter and study hard with Master Zhang. Come back to the capital for the examinations in 5 years. I instructed. After the young emperor ascended the throne and took control, he listened to several civil officials and forced several royal uncles to death. Now everyone in court walked on eggshells. Naughty officials confiscated the fiefs of princes and royal family members. 4 years later, Prince Yan, Damian Chen, defending the northern border, would raise troops in rebellion. Prince Yan's army would win initial victories, unstoppable. The court armies would suffer consecutive defeats and be forced to flee the capital. In my previous life, I allied with various imperial merchants, spending money to buy provisions and war horses to help the court reorganize the army. After a long, difficult campaign, we finally won. So, Cousin Sophie wants to act as if we're strangers. Thomas's voice was bitter, thinking I was compensating him. No, cousin. I just hope you can live well. After all, we're both just people without a voice, unable to act according to our wishes. If you had an official position now, perhaps Mother would desperately want us to marry quickly, to support Grace and Henry. This mother of mine calculated very well, especially for her younger children. Sophie, I'm willing to wait for you. Cousin, you deserve someone much better than me. Thomas was an outstanding gentleman like the bright moon, while I was just someone who had just escaped from hell. If he could become Master Zhang's student, he would be highly favored. The master might even marry his daughter to him. That would be someone to share his life with. In my previous life, it was exactly like this. This life, I'm just making it happen a bit earlier. Mother passed away in her sleep. After I finished handling her funeral affairs, on the 7th day of official mourning, Thomas left the Shaw family. I divided all the family assets between my siblings in front of the entire clan. Sister, this is too much. Sister, why are you dividing the family property now? Land deeds, house deeds, silver notes, gold, jade, antiques, paintings, and calligraphy piled up in heaps. Grace and Henry looked at each other, unable to believe their eyes. The Shaw family assets would go to you two eventually anyway. It's just a matter of sooner or later. I smiled gently and kindly. In my previous life, I worried they would squander the money recklessly. In the end, they suspected I coveted the Shaw family fortune. This life, I'll divide everything clearly. After all, my sister needs money to help her poor scholar, and my brother needs money to frequent the pleasure quarters for longer. Actually, this family fortune isn't that significant. I've been using information from my previous life to make money privately for a long time. That amount has already far exceeded the Shaw family assets many times over. That's my real living capital. Just as I expected, afterward Grace bought many paintings and calligraphy pieces to secretly give to Victor Way. After Henry returned to the academy, he immediately redeemed 2 top courtesans, making his classmates' jaws drop. I still managed the Shaw family business, but didn't put all my effort into it. Instead, I secretly had people purchase grain, weapons, and military supplies as medicine to give to the north. Because this year, Prince Yan would clash with northern enemies. This life, I want the rebel army to win easily. Because I want to use his hands for revenge. The days of maintaining filial piety passed peacefully. Grace still carried on her romance with that scholar. Though they had to pretend to maintain mourning propriety and couldn't meet publicly, they secretly met every single day. Grace constantly offered him fine foods and rare items, expensive paper and ink, valuable paintings and calligraphy. He repaid Grace with honeyed words that made her blush and feel shy. All day long in front of me, she couldn't stop showing off how faithful her Victor was, saying they would discuss marriage as soon as the 3-year mourning period ended. As for Henry, after getting money, he immediately bought a house near the academy and redeemed his favorite courtesan, hiding his beauty in a golden tower. As for the academy, he only went to mark attendance. He thought I didn't know, but the servants by his side were actually my people. Mother's 2 most beloved children during her lifetime couldn't resist the pleasures of the flesh even during her mourning period. How ironic. I also frequently corresponded with Prince Yan. When he received the supplies I sent, we exchanged letters and decided to cooperate. I continued sending him many things. The current court wanted to strip feudal titles and had already cut many of Prince Yan's supplies. His subordinates weren't living well. Being able to have food and clothing now was all thanks to my provisions. Prince Yan reciprocated. When I needed people, he actively sent several highly skilled shadow guards here, along with some veterans from the battlefield. I arranged them in my merchant convoy. Prince Damien and I, this feudal prince with a wolf's heart, got along very well, though we had never met in person. Grace was still immersed in her romantic first love, her head full of fantasies about a beautiful, happy future. She had no idea a cold winter was approaching. On the 3rd day after the mourning period ended, just after we removed the white mourning cloths in the mansion, an imperial edict came from the palace. Grace Shaw was to participate in the autumn selection. In recent years, with northern enemies constantly harassing the borders and needing Prince Yan to guard them, he avoided being stripped of his title, but the court still wouldn't let him go. Fearing the enormous military power in Prince Yan's hands, they held this selection. The young emperor would choose many daughters of wealthy merchants and military generals to enter the palace, borrowing their maternal families' power to restructure the army and prevent potential dangers. In my previous life, I discovered Grace and Victor's secret affair right at this time and heartlessly separated the Mandarin ducks who were planning to elope. After that, Grace entered the palace and became a concubine. During that period afterward, I thought of every possible way, spending countless money and effort to help her handle all the consequences when she offended people in the palace. Under my guidance, she gained the Empress's protection and later won the Emperor's favor. When war broke out and we had to flee the capital, after the Empress died, she became the new Empress, but Grace never felt grateful to me. She believed I separated her from Victor and forced her into the palace because I wanted to curry favor with the powerful. So after gaining the Empress's authority, the first thing she did was banish her own sister from the capital. Henry was about to become a general, but acted as if he saw nothing. He didn't focus on studying and secretly kept a mistress, which I discovered. I made him drop out and switch to a military career. I arranged everything behind the scenes, getting superiors to look after him as he rose through the ranks step by step. His life was never in danger, but Henry believed I coveted the family fortune and wanted him to die on the battlefield. The Emperor knew well I was wrongly accused but coveted the wealth in my hands and turned a blind eye. Later, he confiscated the Shaw family assets for the national treasury. Those officials' wives who once befriended me, those merchants I once helped, everyone rushed to tear apart my business empire. I was filled with resentment, seeing everyone in the world as betraying the righteous. Each one of them was a target for my revenge. No, sister, I won't do the selection. I don't want to enter the palace. I only want to marry Victor. The moment the eunuch delivering the edict left, Grace grabbed my hand crying, "Sister, can you help me get engaged to Victor? With an engagement, I won't have to do the selection." "Grace, you're too naive. The imperial edict has been issued. Even those with engagements can't escape." I bluntly shattered her illusions. From now until the autumn selection, there are only 2 months. Getting married definitely won't happen in time. Moreover, if young Master Victor knows you've been ordered to participate in the selection, he won't dare marry you. Is there really no other way? Sister, even if I cut my hand or hang myself, I don't want to enter the palace. You promised Mother you'd take good care of me. Sister, do you want Mother to be restless in the underworld? Grace cried even more pitifully, but it didn't stop her from using our deceased mother to threaten me. This good sister of mine only knew to think of herself, never considering what consequences the Shaw family would face if we resisted the decree. But this was her nature. I wasn't surprised. I said casually, "Unless you're pregnant and no longer pure." When I said these words, I felt I truly was a vicious woman. But so what? I spent a lifetime being good, and ended up shunned by everyone, dying in the freezing cold. Now I want to see what retribution awaits the wicked. Grace's eyes lit up with excitement. Pregnant before marriage is the only option. Grace, as long as you dare do it, leave the rest to me. My eyes were extremely gentle, my voice bewitching. You don't have much time. While young Master Victor doesn't know about the selection yet, act quickly. That night, Grace dressed up beautifully and went to meet Victor Wei. She didn't return until the next morning. A month later, she was discovered to be pregnant. I went to apologize to the Ministry of Internal Affairs and personally reported to the Empress's maternal family, offering the position of first imperial merchant to the Empress's cousin. I also used gold and silver to bribe many places. Finally, Grace's name was removed from the selection list. By this time, the Shaw family had become an ordinary merchant house, our wealth exhausted, our business declining. No one could covet the Shaw family's money anymore. Grace understood everything but persistently played deaf and dumb. Using the excuse of needing to nurture her pregnancy, she peacefully hid in her room making wedding clothes. She waited until everything was resolved before showing her face again. Sister, I know you've spent a lot of effort and money for me. I should repay you. But after I marry Victor, I won't live as well as you. You run your own business. Sister, I'm sorry. Sister, please don't blame me. When she married, she held my hand tightly, crying very touchingly. You're my sister. How could I blame you? As long as you live well, I'm happy. I genuinely comforted her. After all, she now bore the reputation of pregnant before marriage. Her face had been thrown to the dogs. With such a wife with a bad reputation, Victor Wei could never become a civil official in the future. The scholarly class valued reputation highly. If he wanted to enter officialdom, he could only take the path of becoming a favorite, bewitching the emperor. Now Grace still had money, so Victor naturally didn't dare do anything to her. But when the money gradually ran out, what then? Killing with a soft knife hurts the most. Let me taste the flavor of revenge. Saying a few nice words, what harm is there? Henry blamed me for not teaching Grace properly. The clan members blamed me for ruining the ancestral business. So not long after Grace married out, I decided to follow a merchant convoy north to purchase some northern mountain specialties to revive the family business. Of course, that was just an excuse. I actually went north to meet Prince Yan. Before departure, Grace said she needed to nurture her pregnancy and didn't come see me off. Henry said he was busy studying and never appeared either. Just as expected, their cold-hearted nature only fanned the flames of revenge in my heart. Following the merchant convoy through the wilderness for 2 months straight, I finally reached Yan territory and met the legendary Prince Yan. Just entering autumn, evenings in Yan territory came quickly. When I arrived at the military camp, though it was only late afternoon, night had already fallen. Stars filled the sky. Campfires burned in the middle of the training ground. Everywhere there were scenes of slaughtering pigs and sheep in celebration. Fine wine piled up in heaps. Prince Yan and his subordinates, who had always received my favors, held a simple yet grand banquet to welcome me to the camp. Unlike those refined scholars and gentlemen praised by the world at that time, Prince Yan was a magnificent, powerful man. He wore armor, his face honest and weathered by countless battles. He drank from large bowls and ate large chunks of meat alongside his soldiers, without a trace of royal arrogance. I disguised myself as a man, arriving as young Master Lin, a merchant, to attend the wine feast. Prince Yan secretly observed me, and I was also evaluating him. Come, come. Young Master Lin, I toast you. Those civil officials in court aren't good things. These past years without young Master's help, we wouldn't have lived well at all. Last winter they gave us coats thinner than paper. If not for young Master's cotton clothes. Young Master, try this mutton. This is grassland sheep from the northern tribes, very delicious. People constantly came to greet and toast me. I refused no one. At first, Prince Yan watched me normally, but later began to look amazed. Everyone else thought I was a man, but I had never hidden my identity from Prince Yan. From the moment I decided to conspire with him, I never intended to be a sheltered lady, who only knew how to act cute and coy. We partied until midnight before the wine feast ended. Damien invited me to stay in his tent. I didn't refuse. A single man and woman alone together. Miss Shaw is so calm. Aren't you afraid this prince has improper intentions? Prince Damien leisurely removed his armor. I wasn't the least bit afraid, speaking coldly. Your Highness carries the world in your heart. I trust your Highness's character. Moreover, I can now be considered your Highness's future wife. If something unexpected happens, it's not a big deal, right? The condition for our cooperation was that after he seized the throne, he would make me empress. Having spent a lifetime as a stepping stone for others, watching my good sister gloriously become empress, this life I also want to try being the mother of the nation. I thought Miss Shaw could predict the future, so you're making a bet. Now it seems I underestimated you. Damien had said I could dream of the future, that he would successfully rebel and claim the throne. To prove my words, I gave him maps of iron ore deposits in Yan territory. These mines, in my previous life after the young emperor reclaimed the north, took countless human and material resources to find. Why does it seem different? I suddenly felt curious about why Damien spoke this way. I smell the breath of a kindred spirit on you. Burning ambition and hatred and unwillingness hidden deep inside. He approached me, gently caressing my cheeks. Our hair touched. I smelled the alcohol and killing intent on him, no different from the cold wind of the desolate north. Just as you resent the late emperor's injustice. I smiled radiantly, turning to place my hand on his chest. Your Highness, we both lack parental love. We share the same hatred, which makes us cherish each other more, doesn't it? Cherish each other. This prince thinks conspiring together is more fitting. We're alike in being unfilial and disloyal, not wanting to be good children for others. He smiled arrogantly, embracing my waist and pulling me onto the bed, letting me nestle snugly in his chest. Head resting on his arm, our eyes met, smiling brilliantly like a favored concubine with her sovereign from the history books. The next day, he took me horseback riding, hunting, touring every street and alley of Yan territory. I also used the prince's reputation to purchase many expensive furs, ginseng and local products. Our feelings quietly changed without us noticing. At the same time, I received news from the capital. Victor Wei had killed the courtesan Henry had redeemed, who was now pregnant. After staying in the north for 2 months, the merchant convoy prepared to return. Damien came to see me off, gifting me a short sword. He said it was one of a pair of Mandarin duck swords he had captured fighting the northern enemies. Now he gave me the female sword. I looked at the cold, sharp sword and understood his heart. I thought perhaps being reborn, heaven had taken pity and bestowed on me a little good fortune. Returning to the capital, I profited enormously from speculation on goods obtained in the northern desert. It shouldn't have been so smooth, but I cooperated with Prince Yan and received the patronage of his sister, Princess Lan Ling. Only then could these premium goods slip through at good prices. Princess Lan Ling had high status in the royal family, and her husband was the first-rank Duke Wang. Through this transaction, everyone understood I had her support. I sent people to select some valuable items to give to Grace and Henry, instructing them to let slip that I was close to Duke Wang's household in front of Grace. Sure enough, within days, this sister who had always been nurturing her pregnancy, and found it inconvenient to go out, came to my door with her pregnant belly. Grace pulled my hand, crying emotionally like before. Sister, you were gone so long, you've gotten so tan and thin. Sister, do you know when you were gone, I worried so much about you. I couldn't eat well or sleep peacefully. Thank goodness you returned safely. I truly thank heaven and earth. You're heavy with child now. You must take care of yourself. Did you like the fur coat I sent you a few days ago? After the baby is born, use it to make clothes. They'll be wonderfully warm and soft. I gently chatted with Grace, pretending not to see her intentions. Now the Shaw family was in decline, all because of her. If she truly worried about me, she wouldn't have hoarded all the money when marrying out, nor lounged at home while I went to the northern desert. Spoiled by our parents since childhood, Grace still put herself first and had never changed. After talking back and forth for a long time, Grace finally mentioned her real purpose. Sister, I heard you're under the patronage of Princess Lan Ling and Duke Wang's household. Could you recommend Victor? This life, not separated by me and with Grace's entire dowry supporting him in comfort, Victor Wei was naturally overjoyed. With little academic talent, he naturally failed the imperial examinations repeatedly. Now they began to miss my social connections. Race, a Confucian scholar at 30, a doctoral candidate at 50 is rare. Even if he fails this year, he can try again in 3 years. Your husband is still very young. Though passing the Confucian exam at 30 was considered old, getting a doctorate at 50 was considered young, encouraging students to persevere. Though my words weren't wrong, Victor and Grace certainly weren't happy. Victor often says time is gold and silver. Now in his youth he should serve the country with all his might. He's already a successful candidate. It's not unusual for candidates to enter officialdom. Sister, since you have connections, please help us. I pretended to be worn down by her pestering and agreed to find someone to recommend Victor for an official position. Only then did she stop crying and smile. I added, becoming an official requires money, but I don't have enough now. At this, Grace was very generous, repeatedly saying she'd go back to prepare money to bring to me, instructing me to pay special attention to find a good position for her husband. Not yet married but already bearing someone's child, now buying and selling official positions. Victor's reputation was completely rotten. As soon as she left, Henry arrived. The courtesan White Jade was pregnant with my brother's child. He wanted to marry her as his wife. The Shaw family's ancestral rule was that women of low birth couldn't be principal wives. Before I returned to the capital, Henry and the clan elders had already quarreled several rounds. Sister, White Jade must be my principal wife. I've already agreed to marry her properly. Her name must be entered into the family genealogy. This brother of mine spoke with absolute certainty. Ancestral rules cannot be broken. Sister, you're the family head. Whether White Jade can be recorded in the genealogy is just a matter of one word from you. Can't you make an exception once? Henry thought it was simple, arguing for a while. I advised him that if the ancestors didn't allow it, he could simply separate from the clan and establish his own branch. That way, clan rules couldn't touch him. After all, the Shaw family's main line only had us 3 siblings. Grace and I were daughters who had to marry out. He would be the only heir anyway. Henry thought about it and agreed. This was also my scheme. Once he agreed to separate, it meant being expelled from the Shaw lineage. The Shaw family would have no legitimate son. I remembered the young general praised by everyone, full of courage and integrity. In my previous life at this moment, he was just a playboy who didn't understand the world. I couldn't help but laugh coldly inside. When the time comes, I'll properly adopt another child from the clan as my heir to continue the Shaw family incense. I wonder how much Henry will regret it then. Thanks to Duke Wang's prior arrangements, Victor Wei, skilled in poetry and calligraphy, was recommended to the emperor. The young emperor greatly favored him, keeping him close as a personal attendant. Victor was indeed an outstanding figure. Not long after, he was valued by the emperor and granted the origin of advanced scholar, appointed as a secretary in the Ministry of Personnel. Grace also basked in her husband's glory, officially enfeoffed as a noble lady. At this time, Grace's child was also born. The 3-day bathing ceremony for the baby was held with great fanfare. Everyone happily came to curry favor with the emperor's favorite's child. I used illness as an excuse and only sent servants with gifts. After the maid returned and reported, that day Grace was extremely magnificent, her hair adorned with pearls and jade, exquisitely dressed, looking extremely noble and elegant. How could someone sent by this merchant sister be qualified to meet her? But the gift still had to be taken. Even dogs don't despise poor masters. If not for the young lady's help, how could that person gloriously become an official's wife? Now she despises us Shaw family merchants as inferior to dogs. The quick-tongued maid was someone Prince Yen had sent to my side, always straightforward and sharp like this. Young lady, don't be sad. One day they will regret it. Those nobles hiding in the capital were still busy dancing and celebrating peaceful, prosperous days. They had no idea a storm was already threatening. Northern winter was approaching, bringing disaster with it. Grace once again took initiative to visit me. As soon as she opened her mouth, she wanted to arrange a marriage for me. Sister, now Henry has settled down, and I've married out. You can consider having fulfilled mother's instructions. You should think about yourself now. I have a very suitable match for you. Whose family? Is this person you mention worthy of me? No one unfamiliar. It's Minister Zhang of the Ministry of Personnel, Lord Zhang Rutan. His back courtyard is peaceful, and with a high official position, sister going there could openly be an official's wife. Grace fluently introduced, praising Zhang Rutang to the heavens. I coldly laughed, cutting her off. Sister says he's suitable, but Lord Zhang is already over 50. If I marry him, I'd be his 5th remarried wife, inheriting over 10 children, right? Grace was speechless. I've treated sister well, haven't I? To prevent you from entering the palace, I ruined the family fortune. To let you marry out gloriously, I exhausted our wealth. From childhood, I personally cared for and protected you. And now you help your husband flatter his superiors by treating your own sister this way. Grace's face flushed from my words, but she still maintained a fake smile. Sister, don't be angry. I only want what's best for you. At your age, being able to find someone like this is already very good. You. I was so angry I couldn't breathe, then fainted. A maid bringing tea entered. Sister, fainting has nothing to do with me. Grace jumped up in panic, threw down a sentence, then hurriedly waved her sleeves and left. The maid helped me up, praising my good acting. That's right, the fainting was fake. Only by falling out with Grace now could I later drain her dry when she came begging, demanding money. That huge dowry of hers, every penny was earned through my hard work. Naturally, I had to take it back. The feeling of being penniless, hungry and cold that I experienced in my previous life, this life, I'll make her experience it herself. In the blink of an eye, winter solstice arrived. News came from the north. Prince Yan had raised troops in